So here's the Thanos model. I gotta make sure all these are right. And you can see here on the quality that the layer height is still 0.2, but the line width is 1.2. So being on a nozzle of 0.8, that is 50% larger than the nozzle size, but still small enough to be able to extrude just fine. And now I slice this file. Let's take a look at the preview. The preview has this large support in here, but otherwise there are no supports and no infill for this. That should be, we'll see if this works. I think it probably can, looking at the shape here. His chin was large, that's why I had to add supports there. But otherwise, I think that shape should work. There's two walls for this at, what, 2.4 thickness millimeters. And I'm gonna go over here. Got it loaded in. Thanos, 1.2 lines, no infill, one support, 13 hours. This is Octoprint. I don't know what all this says. Let's just do that later, ignore, disappear, and print. Preheated. This is the cam. This is going to be the back view. It's not really that useful in this, so I have two other cameras on it. All right, here we go. We're using cheap 3D Max. This brand here. This is what, $12 a roll, real cheap. On my Ender 5 Pro with a few mods. Nothing crazy. I'm not sure about these lines here. I'm gonna check that out. Alright, I feel a little better now. I've evened it out on the front side, so those two lines aren't too far apart anymore. We'll see if this keeps going or not. Checking in on those layers, because those don't look great, but those do after I adjusted it while it was printing. All right, Thanos just finished here, this bust of him. So I ripped off the support, and as you can see, it's a pretty good job for a 12-hour, 36-minute print. Now, there are some issues, and that is... I'll detail them real quickly. So in the back here, you can see that any flat areas weren't printed very well because I had him completely hollow, no infill, which still gave me good results on this giant shell here. The other problem is that his face here, this right there, is called a Z-seam. It's where, as you rise up and overlap an area, you have to go back that way, and that adds a little extra material. Now, I could sand that down, or I could change it so the Z-seam's in the back. The new version of Kira supposedly has Z-seam preview. I did not have that in my version. So, it's a nice large bust of Thanos. Now, I want to ask why I have some like weird extrusion issues. Not the Z-seam, but like on his face here, those extrusion issues. But here's all flat, like really flat. Now this on the side is not great, but you can see how just flat and consistent that is. But the side of his head, you can see there's little lines here and there. I wonder if that's from a wobble as it got higher up, even though this should be keeping it from happening as much. This little cheap IKEA table may not be enough. May need to get a concrete paver. Still, I am confused.